want to tell you about something that happens in my practice so often that it has almost become a pattern. Someone over 60 comes to me, usually a little hesitant, a little embarrassed even, and they say something like this: I keep forgetting things, little things, names I have known for years, the reason I walked into a room, what I was about to say in the middle of a sentence. They pause and look at me, searching my face for some sign that I understand, that I am not going to dismiss them. Then they say the part that really hurts. I am scared. I am scared this is the beginning of something I cannot stop. I hear this every single week, and every time my heart goes out to that person, because I know exactly what they are carrying. It is not just the forgetting. It is the fear behind the forgetting. It is lying in bed at night replaying every moment where your memory failed you, wondering if this is how it starts, wondering if next year you will still recognize the people you love. If you are watching this right now and that fear lives somewhere inside you, I want you to hear me clearly. You are not alone in this, not even close. Millions of people over 60 carry this exact same worry, and most of them have never told anyone how deep it really goes. Here's what breaks my heart the most. So many of these people have already tried to get help. They went to their doctor, they got the tests. They sat in the waiting room with their stomach in knots, dreading the results. Then the doctor came back and said, everything looks fine. This is normal for your age. Maybe try some puzzles or get more sleep. They went home feeling more lost than before, because if everything is supposedly fine, then why does their mind still feel like it is moving through thick mud? Why do they still struggle to recall what they had for breakfast or what their grandchild told them yesterday? I need you to know that if this has been your experience, you are not failing. You are not weak. Your brain is not broken. What is happening to you is real. It is valid, and there is a reason behind it that most people have simply never been told about. That reason is not in your head. It is in your gut. I know that might sound strange at first. When someone tells you that your memory problems might be connected to your digestive system, the natural reaction is confusion. What does my stomach have to do with remembering things? I get that question all the time, and I love it, because the answer is one of the most eye-opening pieces of information I have ever had the privilege of sharing. Your gut and your brain are not separate systems living in different parts of your body and minding their own business. They are in constant, active, ongoing communication. Picture two old friends who talk on the phone every single day. They share everything. When one of them is having a bad day, the other one feels it. When one of them is thriving, the other one benefits. That is the relationship between your gut and your brain. There's a direct communication line running between them, and the signals that travel along that line affect everything from how clearly you think to how well you remember to how deeply you sleep at night. Now, I want to pause right here because I know some of you are feeling something as you listen to this. Maybe it is relief, because for the first time someone is offering an explanation that actually makes sense. Maybe it is frustration, because you wish someone had told you this years ago. Maybe it is just a quiet recognition, a feeling of finally, someone gets it. Whatever you are feeling right now, I want to honor that. I want to ask you something personal. Have you ever felt like your memory was slipping and nobody around you took it seriously? Have you ever been told you were just getting older when deep inside you knew something more was going on? If that is your story, I would love for you to share it in the comments below. You do not have to write a long message. You can simply say, I knew something was off and no one listened. Those few words might seem small to you, but they could mean the world to someone else watching this video who feels completely invisible in their struggle. When you comment, you are not just sharing your experience. You are telling another person that their pain is real, that they are not imagining it, that someone out there understands. Please take a moment to do that. This is a safe place and your voice matters here. So what exactly is happening inside your gut that can affect your memory so profoundly? Let me paint a picture for you. Inside your digestive system, there is a whole world of tiny living organisms, trillions of them, working together like a massive factory. This factory has many departments. One department is responsible for breaking down your food and pulling out the nutrients your body needs. Another department produces special chemical messengers, the kind that travel directly up to your brain and help it function properly. These messengers play a huge role in how sharp your thinking is, how stable your mood feels, and how well your memory holds on to the things that matter to you. When this factory is running smoothly, when all the departments are staffed with the right workers in the right balance, your brain gets a steady, reliable supply of everything it needs. You think clearly, you remember conversations. You feel mentally present and engaged with the world around you. This is something I see all the time in people who take care of their gut health, even if they did not realize that was what they were doing. Here is where things get tricky, especially after 60. Over the years, the diversity of workers in that factory starts to decline. Some of the most important, most helpful organisms begin to disappear. It happens slowly, so slowly that you do not notice it at first. It is like a garden that is not being tended. One week, a few weeds appear. You barely notice. A month later, the weeds have spread and the flowers are struggling. 6 months later, the whole garden looks different, and you cannot quite figure out when it changed because it happened so gradually. That is what happens inside your gut as the years go by, and the consequences do not stay in your stomach. They travel upward along that communication line, and they show up in your brain as fog, as forgetfulness, as that maddening feeling of reaching for a word that you know, but just cannot find. There is another layer to this that I find incredibly important. Inside your gut, there is a thin, delicate lining that acts as a gatekeeper. Its job is simple but critical. It lets the good things through, the nutrients, the helpful signals, and keeps the harmful things out. When this lining is healthy and strong, it does its job perfectly. Your brain receives clean, clear signals, and everything runs the way it should. Over time, and especially after 60, this lining can start to weaken. Imagine a coffee filter that has been used too many times. It starts to develop thin spots, tiny holes where things can seep through that were never supposed to get past. When harmful particles slip through that weakened lining and enter your bloodstream, your body responds with a quiet, hidden type of inflammation. You cannot feel it the way you feel a sore knee or a stiff back. This inflammation is invisible, silent, and it moves through your body without any obvious symptoms until it reaches your brain. Once it gets there, it creates interference. It is like trying to listen to your favorite song on the radio while someone is running a blender in the next room. The song is still playing, your brain is still working, but the noise makes everything harder to follow. That noise is what so many people over 60 experience as brain fog, as memory lapses, as that frustrating feeling of not being as sharp as they used to be. Now here is the part that I find truly exciting, the part that changed everything for so many of the people I work with. Your gut is not a machine that breaks down and stays broken. It is a living, breathing ecosystem that has a remarkable ability to heal, to rebalance, to rebuild itself when you give it the right support. The habit I want to share with you today is the one that people over 60 tell me again and again made the most noticeable difference in their mental clarity. It is not a supplement. It is not a medication. It is not some expensive program you have to sign up for. It is simply this: adding a small portion of naturally fermented food to one meal every day. That is it. One meal, one small addition, done consistently over time. I am talking about foods like sauerkraut, the kind you find in the refrigerated section of the grocery store, not the shelf-stable kind that has been pasteurized. I am talking about plain yogurt with live active cultures, the kind that lists those cultures right on the container. I am talking about kimchi, which is a fermented vegetable dish that has been eaten for centuries and carries an incredible variety of beneficial organisms. I am also talking about kefir, which is a tangy fermented drink that you can sip with meals or mix into a smoothie. What makes these foods so special is that they deliver living organisms directly to your gut. Think of it as sending a crew of skilled workers into that factory we talked about earlier. These new workers do not just show up and stand around. They get to work immediately, helping to rebuild the diversity that has been declining, supporting the departments that produce those brain-nourishing chemical messengers, and strengthening that delicate gut lining so it can do its job as a gatekeeper again. Many of my patients tell me that within a few weeks of making this one simple change, they started noticing something different. Not a dramatic overnight transformation, because real healing does not work that way. It was more like a gradual clearing, like a window that had been covered in dust for years being slowly wiped clean. They described finding their words a little more easily, feeling a little less foggy in the morning, being able to follow a conversation without losing the thread halfway through. One person told me it was like someone had turned up the brightness on their brain just a few notches, not all the way, but enough to notice, enough to feel hopeful again. I want to be very honest with you about something, because trust matters more to me than anything else. This is not a magic solution. Eating fermented food is not going to reverse years of change overnight, and I would never want to give you that impression. What it can do, what I have seen it do over and over again, is give your body the support it needs to start its own healing process. Your gut wants to be healthy. Your brain wants to be clear. Sometimes all they need is a little help, a little consistent support, and the body does the rest. Start small. A spoonful of sauerkraut with lunch, a small cup of yogurt with breakfast. You do not need to eat large amounts, and you do not need to eat every type of fermented food at once. Choose one that you enjoy, or at least one that you can tolerate, and make it part of your daily routine. Give it 3 to 4 weeks before you judge whether it is making a difference, because the changes happen gradually, the same way the decline happened gradually. If this information is speaking to you, if you feel like you have learned something today that could genuinely help you, I want to gently invite you to subscribe to this channel. Every week I share a new piece of this puzzle, exploring how your gut health connects to your memory, your mood, your sleep, and your overall well-being after 60. I do my best to explain everything in simple, clear language because I believe that understanding your body should never require a medical degree. When you subscribe, you are not just pressing a button. You are making a quiet decision to prioritize your own health, to keep learning, to keep taking small steps forward. There is a whole community of people here who share your experiences and your hopes, and you are always welcome among them. I am grateful for every single person who chooses to be part of this journey, and I do not take that trust lightly. As we come to the end of this conversation today, I want to leave you with something to hold on to. The fact that you are here, watching this, listening carefully, thinking about your health, tells me that you have not given up. You are still searching, still hoping, still believing that better days are possible. That matters more than you know. The changes you are experiencing in your memory and your clarity do not have to define the rest of your life. Your body is more resilient than you have been led to believe, and sometimes the most powerful changes come from the simplest habits. One small spoonful, one daily choice, one quiet act of caring for yourself. That is where it begins. You do not have to figure everything out today. You do not have to be perfect. You just have to take one step, and then another, and then another. Your brain and your gut are working together whether you realize it or not, and when you support one, you are quietly supporting the other. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are standing at the beginning of something that could change how you feel for years to come, and I am honored to walk this path alongside you.